This is THV 11 News at 6.
We call upon all the citizens of Minneapolis to be calm. We don't want anyone to be hurt. We need law enforcement to be able to do their jobs, and it's a terrible situation.
That just one of many reactions on the developing situation in Minneapolis, where a woman was killed by ICE agents earlier today. The incident has since sparked immediate protests in the area. Thanks for joining us. I'm Brooke Buckner.
And I'm Faith Woodard. But as you just heard from House Speaker Mike Johnson, leaders are urging people to stay calm as the investigation continues.
CBS's Nicole Skanga is there and brings us more reactions and the details of what the FBI is working to learn.
A 37-year-old woman was shot and killed in her car by an ICE officer Wednesday morning in Minneapolis, according to federal officials and eyewitnesses. ICE agents were in the neighborhood for an enforcement operation, and residents were honking horns and blowing whistles.
There was a red SUV parked right in front of our house.
Aiden and Grace Perzana say they saw the entire scene from their home and that several officers surrounded the SUV.
A third person in also camouflage fatigues came and started pulling on the driver's side door handle, at which point the vehicle backed up a few feet and started driving forward. The agent who was on the driver's side originally, who was not pulling on the handle but had been there prior to that, shot 2 or 3 times through the driver's side window. The car drove a 30-40 feet and crashed into another car in the telephone pole.
It was an act of domestic terrorism.
Speaking in Texas, Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem said agents were acting in self-defense after their vehicle was stuck in the snow.
They were attempting to push out their vehicle, and a woman attacked them and those surrounding them and attempted to run them over and ram them with her vehicle.
The shooting quickly sparked protests and outrage. Just this week, the Trump administration launched its biggest crackdown on illegal immigration, sending about 2,000 agents into the Twin Cities. Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Fry.
What they are doing is not to provide safety in America. What they are doing is causing chaos and distrust.
He demanded ICE leave the city and urged residents to remain calm. Nicole Skanga, CBS News, Minneapolis.
We turn to Arkansas U.S. Senator Tom Cotton, who's weighing in on the controversy.
Senator Cotton has presented recent legislation that gives harsher penalties for people who he says interferes with law enforcement investigations.
And tells us he's seen some videos of the incident, but is standing with law enforcement.
If you oppose the policies that they're enforcing, that's understandable. You can vote out the politicians who are in charge of them, whether it's a mayor or a governor or the president. You can protest in peaceful ways that doesn't interfere with them carrying out those actions, but you should never interfere with the lawful activities of our law enforcement, whether it's local police or immigration authorities or anyone else.
Cotton also says as details come out, Congress will address it further.
Closing out another gorgeous day where temperature is managed close to 70 degrees in the metro area. Cloud cover rolling in and will thicken up overnight tonight, tomorrow morning when you wake up with Tracy Bean. You may have a little bit of rain shower activity on radar. And then tomorrow afternoon, we have a chance of a strong storm or two that could be severe. There is a low wind threat. I'll get to that in a moment. Our temperatures are down to the 50s and low 60s, well above where they should be this time of year. And they'll bottom out in the middle 50s under cloudy skies and may actually rise a little as a warm front begins to move into central Arkansas. So here's the threat tomorrow. It's a low wind marginal threat. It's a 1 out of 5, and it's for an isolated chance of a shower or a thunderstorm that could produce some wind gusts or even potentially a low wind threat of a tornado. This is what your Thursday projected radar looks like, and we're talking about this tomorrow afternoon and tomorrow night as that boundary moves into the state. In terms of what we can expect, the wind threat is the highest threat, up to 60, and then a brief tornado, about a 2% likelihood. We're going to talk about the chance for strong to severe weather on Friday as well. I'll tie it all up for you, and we'll talk about the weekend too. Back to you.
Well, tonight, the family of Joynell Brandon continues their fight to bring her home.
We first told you about her case a day after she was reported missing in May of 2025. Today, our cameras captured the man prosecutors say could be connected to her disappearance, appearing in court for a plea and arraignment hearing.
Tony Thompson Jr. is charged with first-degree murder and abuse of a corpse. According to court records, investigators believe the crime happened on or around May 13, 2025, the last day Brandon was seen by loved ones.
That same report says her daughter, Marquisia Johnson, dropped her off at a home on Fluker Street, expecting her to come back later. By the next morning, Brandon never returned home.
Court records point to a witness seeing Brandon leaving Fluker with Thompson in a white box truck. Months later, police revealed they found Brandon's blood inside that vehicle, along with a shell casing and DNA allegedly linked to Thompson.
We're not saying that she is no longer here with us because we still don't know. And I'm gonna keep having my faith in God that she will be brought home to us. Just keep us in your prayers because this is a rocky roller coaster. It's not easy at all.
Brandon's daughter, Marquisia, and other family members were in court today, along with Thompson's daughter. Marquisia tells THV 11 that tomorrow is her mother's birthday and the family plans to honor her life and legacy with a balloon release.
Tonight at 10, we'll hear more from the Brandon family and her case's impact on the community.
Last June, a football coach in Quitman was suspended 1 year by the State Board of Education, who said he didn't do enough about bullying and harassment in the locker room. Now that suspension has been lifted due to improper behavior by state board members. THV 11's Carter Thwee joins us in studio to break it all down.
Faith, on June 12th of last year, Quitman head football coach Danny Mars got 1 year suspension. In August, Superintendent Michael Stacks got probation for the same thing. But now a circuit court judge has said the state board has to re-examine Coach Mars' suspension, with 2 board members unable to take part.
Kids were shoved in lockers and hit with footballs. They were shot with Orby and or BB guns. Some claim that they were whipped with a bullwhip.
Those details, plus graphic details of sexual harassment, are what State Board member Jeff Wood brought up in August of last year. It's what led to a 1 year suspension and 2 years probation for Quitman head football coach Danny Mars.
I know you've been scolded enough, but man, this is a bad situation that could have been repaired or made not so bad a lot sooner.
But soon after, Mars, whose lawyer did not return a request for comment Wednesday, appealed the ruling for a number of reasons, including a so-called lack of evidence and what his attorney called an excessive and arbitrary punishment. But the biggest allegation? State board members who decided on Mars' suspension had communicated with the people who filed the complaint. On Tuesday, a Cleburne County judge agreed, deciding that contact, called ex parte, denied Mars a fair hearing. The judge ruled that his suspension is vacated, and the state board will have to reconsider Mars' case, with the 2 board members who engaged in ex parte communication unable to take part. For THV 11 News, I'm Carter Thwee.
Even with Mars' suspension vacated, it seems unlikely he'll be back as head football coach, as Quitman announced the hiring of a new head coach on Tuesday. We reached out to the superintendent for further comment, but have not heard back.
A new program here in Arkansas could help improve communication between people with mental illnesses and law enforcement. Arkansas Revenue offices now have 2 envelopes available for drivers, a blue one meant for people on the autism spectrum and a green one for people with any other kind of mental illnesses. In it, drivers can store a copy of their driver's license, vehicle registration, and their current insurance card. It also lists instructions for the driver being pulled over and some notes for the officer to make the traffic stop more effective.
We had some people waiting, to get that on January 2nd, knowing that it was effective in 2026. So yeah, we've already issued, I'm sure it's up to several dozen at this point, and that number is only going to grow as this continues to gain attention.
The 2 envelopes are different than the communication impediment decal created years ago. That one requires proof of diagnosis, unlike the envelopes, and is placed on the car's license plate, showing the driver is not able to communicate effectively. You can get the envelopes at any Arkansas Revenue office for free or online on our website, thv11.com. And after the break, as flu cases continue to rise, doctors continue to urge you to get vaccinated. How the disease is affecting people right here at home and across the U.S.
Well, as I mentioned up top, we do have a chance of some strong to severe thunderstorms. It's a very low-end risk on Thursday and Friday. We've been talking about it all week. Give you the latest information when we come back.